Hey guys, I am sewing the shoulder straps back onto the inferior hiking backpack. I wanted to kind of show you guys what I was doing. I had to move them from here and here to here and here. Now this side I've already stitched. I double stitched it so that it would be stronger. I plan on, since the only thing that's in these things, let me show you. This is the only thing inside these shoulder straps. It's covered in cloth, a hollow tube, and then this neoprene looking stuff, and then the foam padding. These are not very strong. This is only so strong, okay? So the straps that I took off the top right here, I'm going to be putting back, and I'm going to run it down through here and back up like it's supposed to be to reinforce that so it doesn't separate and break. But that's not what I'm doing right this moment. I'll do this last after I get these on and get them tested. I'll also reattach this, which was attached back here, but I'll reattach it about up here because I had to shorten these things. And this is the part that makes the bag tip forward. Okay, I just want it to be all reinforced with the webbing. Okay, now to start a seam, you poke it through, then you draw the long end through. Okay, you go to the second stitch. This is where it gets important. Now one thing you can do, which is what I do, rather than try to keep this tip from fraying, which is almost impossible, is I take an upholstery needle and I just tie it on. Oops, I can tie a knot. And I just make a knot. This is not a problem. It's not going to catch on anything, and I'll show you here in a second. And that way, it makes it easier to handle the long end. Okay. Now, when you get the first stitch, you start the second one. Let me get the second one started, and then I'll hold it up. Actually, let me get 2 stitches in there so it holds it in place. And that way I can hold it up and it won't loosen up. One more, and it'll hold it. That way I can show you what I'm doing. It's just this thing's kind of unwieldy. It's not flat or square, you know, it's all like this. Anyway, okay, so I've got this held up, or held with 2 stitches right now. What you do is you poke it through, all the way through the edge and the strap. Then you pull back a little bit, and you see that little, this little loop right here? Okay, that's what you run your little needle through. You don't have to use a needle, but it does make it easier. Oops, it came off. Really? I actually tied a knot and everything. All right, hang on, let me find it. Should have tightened it up better. Okay, let's try this again. Trust me, out in the woods, my knots are better than this. Okay, I tightened it up that time. Okay, so you've got the little loop. After you've pulled that sewing awl back just a little bit, and then you pull the string through, and you pull this back, and then you pull on both to tighten it. Okay, I'll show it to you again. Take and you punch it through all the way. all the way out the back side. And then you pull just a little bit. Let's see if I can get you closer. You see that loop right there? Yeah, now you can see it right there. See that little loop? That's what my needle goes through. So I can pull this end through. And then you pull both of them. I've got hold of the string on this side and I pull them tight. Okay. I'm going to go to my next stitch. Go through both of them all the way. Pull back a little bit and make that little loop. Then run the end through. It's easier with two flat pieces of leather. And it came loose again. I'm going to have to triple knot it, I guess. Pull it tight. Now, I took the padding, I ripped the padding out of both of these areas I'm sewing so that it would be thinner, so I wouldn't have to worry about the tightening up as much, okay? Because I figure if I have to constantly pull against the padding, my stitches might not be tight, and I do want my stitches tight. So thing is being really difficult, so I'm going to tie it really, really good. Run around there 2 or 3 times like I would a fishing line. That ought to hold it. If that don't hold it, I don't know what's going to hold it. I'll have to get tape. Alright. Now I had it safety pinned in place while I was making sure that they were both equal and the same height and the same width and the same angle. Okay? My son helped me this morning get this marked. Now, do make sure that your fingers are out of the way when you push this through on the other side. Ask me how I know this. I have stabbed my finger, and trust me, it really hurts. So unwieldy. This is the hard part though. The rest of the stuff's a little easier. Getting this measured and cut and put in the right spot was not the easiest thing in the world. So this is really, really strong thread. This thread is for, let me get it back a little farther where you can see it. This thread is for like sewing leather and real heavy duty stuff. It's not cotton thread. You don't want to use cotton thread because it'll rot. It'll dry rot. So you want to use a nylon thread or a waxed thread would be best, but let me take out this other safety pin. This is out of the same sewing kit that I've got in my bug out bag. This is everything. This was in the sewing kit. Okay. If you're going to have a repair kit, it needs to be able to actually repair, right? Let me double check. Okay. They're still good. I was careful about when I safety pinned them so that I could make them the same, because we certainly don't want one long and one short. Okay, I'm getting in a bind in my, there we go. All right. There we go. Sometimes if you push down too hard on this cover for the bobbin, it puts the bobbin in a bind, and then you can't get thread from the spool. But unfortunately, I'm always having to push on it. So there we go. Just got to make sure you get that little right here, that little loop right there, so that it can go through it, so that you can pull it back out from both sides and tighten up the stitch. That is the important part. Getting this first one sewn is the toughest, and then I'll take and go down a little bit and then sew it back. Now I know this is kind of tedious, but I wanted you guys to see how a sewing awl works. What I do is I'll just jump in. I was here. Now I'll just jump in a little bit into the padding, even though I couldn't remove the padding like I did on the shoulder strap. But that's okay. It's just for extra insurance, because I don't trust just one I don't trust just one seam to hold all this together. There we go. The bobbin was in a bind. It wouldn't allow it to, there we go. Now I got a loop. Sometimes you got to argue with them just a little bit, you know. This is not a sewing machine. This is a sewing awl. There is a difference. Let me get you guys on hold. Oops. Let me put you guys on hold for a few minutes while I finish sewing this seam, and then I'll pull it back out and I'll let you guys see. Okay guys, down to the last stitch on this side. Now what you do on the last stitch is you run the thing through, take the needle off, then you pull both of them back through to the side you want to tie it on, okay? Okay, I've got both strings on one side now, and then I'll just tie them really well. Now I went several wraps. Anyway, you just want a really, really, really good knot or a series of knots. Now, how I usually finish it off so we don't have a bunch of strings hanging around is, let's see if I can get you. I'll take the needle and I'll stick it through I've stuck it through, and I'll put the strings through it. And basically I'm running the strings to the inside where the padding is, the end of the strings, excuse me. Let's be more specific. That's why I have such a big-eyed needle. Okay? And it just runs them through. And you take and you pull just a little bit, snip them off, and then they go down into the padding. Okay, doesn't mean they're going to stay there forever if something pulls on them, but what I plan on doing is putting a little piece of glue right here just to hold them. Now I've got both of these sewn. Whoa, hello, dropped the phone, sorry. Okay, I've got both of these sewn. Both of them have 2 rows of stitching. They're not gorgeous. I'm not a seamstress, okay? If I was doing 2 straight pieces of leather on the edge, yeah, I can make a straight seam. But this is all curved and poofy, and none of it is straight anyway. So, but anyway, I've got both of the shoulder straps attached. Now I will go ahead and flip it over to look at this. What I'm going to do is I want this down just past where I had to cut this off. Okay? I want that just past because I'm going to sew it right there. Then I'm going to come up here. I'm going to take the adjuster and this one, and I'm going to sew these together right here so that this is all covered up with webbing. This is how they had it before, only it was too long, so I shortened it up by this much. So it was because of this. The pieces that goes across your chest, it was way down here, and it wouldn't go up any higher because this is where it needs to ride, is right here. Okay, so that it's comfortable and so I can breathe. Okay, if it's down here it wouldn't fit, and down here it wouldn't fit, but up here, right about here where my hand is where it needs to fit, and that's where it is now, halfway through this, so that I have adjustment up or down should I need it. Okay guys, I'm not gonna bore you with sewing these 2 little webbing pieces on. I'm going to get that done off camera. The next place that looks like it might be a weak spot is down here on the bottom where these things attach. Okay, this is where you tighten up your shoulder straps, is to this. See this right here? It's seamed. It just goes to here. It's just sewed into the seam. I don't know if this is going to pull loose or not. but we will find out. If it starts pulling loose, then I'll adjust it. I'll fix it. I'll add a piece of webbing onto the back side and expand its grab. But anyway, if you guys could hit the thumbs up, like, share, hit the bell icon, consider, supporting the channel or putting it out on Twitter or anything you want, really. I would appreciate it. And let me look at the camera. Oh, I dropped it again. Oops. Y'all come back and see me.